doesn't think Tim Tebow got a fair shot when he was in the NFL, as if he wasn't on multiple teams.
Okay, go ahead and record for me, Justin.
Got it.
Fair. Define fair.
That's that Urban Meyer privilege right there. That's what that is.
Yeah, that's
They're
insane.
literally neighbors. I'm a Gator fan, okay? Like, but the minute he was no longer a Gator, like, I like I said,
Yeah,
I'd save it.
I just say the emphasis should be on the new regime and the new quarterback and the direction we're going instead of trying to bring up past history
Well,
and
it's funny
make
because
it
right
new
before,
news,
right,
man.
the podcast, the like days before the rumors started coming out, Justin's like, I wish we could close that chapter in Jaguars history with the because when he was eligible for the draft, everybody wanted him to come here. Oh yeah, just in, the former Broncos and Jets quarterback is expected to sign as a tight end to the practice squad.
I wasn't lying.
Wait, it doesn't say practice squad. It says Urban Meyer's Jacksonville squad.
Yeah. I wasn't lying.
Like you had to throw that in. Just wow.
Who did they have starting at tight end anyway? Because I would really like to know.
O'Shawn Hennessy.
So Tim Tebow is what.
What year did Tim retire? Well, or stop playing?
2012.
No,
Because
No,
they
he was
wanted him
3
to play
years
tight end.
ago. It was 2017. It was 2017 because he started playing baseball in 2017.
Yeah, but he didn't play after 2012 in the league.
Sure
I don't
about
think he
that?
played any games. I don't believe. Because they wanted him to be a tight end, and he was like, no. And now he's like, okay, fine, Herbs, whatever you want.
Well, yeah, because I think he just got
Oh, shit,
cut
you're
from
right.
whatever baseball team he was
Yeah.
on.
That's what I mean.
Damn.
So from 2000, that's like almost 10 years. That's insane. It's crazy.
Wait, when was this last time he played in the NFL?
2012 with the Jets.
9 years removed. Like,
Well, that's when he actually played in a regular season game, because I know he played a couple preseason games with like the Eagles and the Patriots, but he ended up getting cut from both of those teams before they got
And
to the regular
He
season.
got cut from the Patriots because Belichick wanted him to be a tight end, and he didn't want to do it. I'm just saying.
Absurd.
But Colin Kaepernick's not in the league.
Close to a decade.
Period.
Well,
Yeah, right?
Period. No comment, but I'm just saying.
Oh well, listen, you know how that go.
yeah. So Rashad, any chances you would be willing to come back as an O lineman, since people can just change position, move around?
Come back as an old lineman out here.
So bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, listen, I'll do it. Why not? I wouldn't be good at all, but
Well, I mean, based on this precedent, I mean, you don't really have to have experience.
yeah.
All right, Matt, are we shared? Are we good to go?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's pin us up. AFC South fan battle, private group people. I know you're not used to us going live in the middle of the day, but guess what? We're not vampires today. How you like it? Let's see. We're going to pin this guy, and then we'll get started. Oh, man. Wow. Thanks for killing my vibe right before the podcast started, Dylan. I appreciate that. I wouldn't have known.
You're welcome.
You mean you're not ecstatic?
No.
You got your starting tight end.
Yay.
We all got jokes.
I'm as excited as... Listen, the Jaguars did so well in the drafts that you guys, we had to just screw up and do Jag things. So
Touchdown.
Jags doing
Trevor
Jag
Lawrence to Tim Tebow.
They are going to run so many ridiculous Wildcat packages. It is going to be insane.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next topic.
Your tight end.
Yeah, let's get going.
All right.
Next topic.
Justin, you're not happy at all.
I don't even want to talk about it. I want to. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast. My name is Samantha Warnett. Today we have a special guest, but I'm going to start by introducing our commentators. Representing the Colts, we have Chris Jackson.
Howdy.
Oh. Wow. Rough afternoon, I guess.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying not to laugh from the news that we just went over.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Look at
Representing the Jaguars, we have Justin Gonzalez.
Hello, what's up, Duval?
Representing the Texans, we have Dylan Cieslik.
What's going on, guys?
And he's not going to like this, but representing the Titans today, because we don't have a Titans commentator,
What else is new?
is Matt Briggs.
Makes me feel dirty. Let's eat some mayonnaise. Tighten
So
up,
you need to
everybody.
start eating
Tighten
mayonnaise
up.
right now.
In the dirt. Yes.
We can just change your name to like Matt Hellmans or something like that.
Right.
Well, guys, our special guest for this episode, he's a former NFL running back drafted by the Jaguars, motivational speaker, Catfish co-host, Dancing with the Stars champion, podcaster, and author of The If in Life, Mr. Rashad Jennings. How are you?
I'm good. I appreciate the introduction. I feel like I feel special. It's funny though. I have to say, nobody in here is really a Titans fan.
I got him.
I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Throw that out
I
there.
mean, the commentators that we do have are busy, so maybe they're just, intimidated by you. I would.
Yeah.
No, they just have a mayonnaise convention to go to.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Probably preoccupied with sister wives or whatever they do down in Tennessee.
Yeah. Oh, we won't get into
Tennessee
that.
whiskey. That's what it is.
Oh, well, see, that's good. We'll take that.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have some football related questions for you. We're just getting out of the draft and, you got drafted by the Jaguars. So we have some questions, but I have to start selfishly by asking you some selfish questions. And I know that the ladies of the podcast, normally when we get too busy into stats and stuff, they're just like, whatever, and log off. So this one's for you guys, you reality TV people. Catfish. We're going to start with it.
Okay.
Okay. That is one of my favorite shows. I love it. Like if I'm not watching football, Good Morning Football, it's off season, whatever, I'm watching that show. So it actually makes me laugh because when I watched that episode, I watched your face drop in the background. But holding
Several times. Yeah, for sure.
So how awkward is that being on that show, like when they meet face to face? And do you think people like do it to get attention? Like, is that the vibe you got from that episode?
So doing Catfish, I was asked by MTV to come on and do Catfish. As the co-host, you have no idea what episodes you're getting into. They don't, prerequisite you of what kind of people you're dealing with. Where you just say, yes, I want to do an episode, and they throw you in to the wolves, right? So I had no idea what I was getting into. I'm curious, and I'm very skeptical. I wonder if this show is real. I wonder if the people are real. How does it happen? How do you chase the person down? So I got to be the detective. And just so you know, if you're a fan of the show, it's real. These are real people. We really hunt them down. We reverse engineer their phone numbers. We really try to locate them. We search on Facebook. We ask people around, and we get some real answers. And you'll be shocked to come to find out that there are real people out here playing catfish, and they have their reasons why. And when they met for the first time in my episode, you could see my face expression when the catfish saw who was behind the scenes. So, and two, there's a catfish, and the catfish is the person who is doing the catfishing, and then the hopeful is the person that's getting tricked. That's just a reminder, but it's very real show. I don't know what the heck these people are thinking. But
So have you been catfished?
I personally, I've had people reach out and not be who they are. So I guess you could consider that a catfish. I wasn't, in love or head over heels or throwing money out there or anything, but I've had people not be sincere of the person in the screen.
Are you, so you did Dancing with the Stars, and so did Neve Schulman. Are you guys friends?
Yeah, we know each other well. Yeah, I actually helped him out with some moves on Dance with the Stars. He helped me out in the catfish world and held my hand. So I said, here, man, I'll help you out on Dancing with the Stars. So.
That's awesome. So that's actually my next question. Words. I'll have to edit that one out. That's actually my next question. I used to take ballroom classes back in the day. It's actually a really good workout.
Come on now.
What made you agree to do that show, and do you still ballroom dance?
One, I answered that backwards. Yes, I still ballroom dance. I actually social dance more so now. I agreed to do the show. Well, one, I had an opportunity. Just so you know, I'm an autodidact. I truly am addicted to learning. And so every off season, I pick up a new art and craft. My first off
That's
season,
awesome.
I learned how to play the guitar. The next off season, I learned how to do magic tricks. The next off season, I picked up poetry. The next off season, Olympic style fencing. The next off season, archery. So every off season, I would just pick up a new art. And that last off season, I went to a shindig. A buddy of mine was dancing. At a shindig on a commercial. Some people were dancing, and it looked really good. And I was like, yo, what the heck are they doing? One of my friends knew. She actually was in ballroom dance, and she said, oh, Rashad, that's they're doing the cha-cha. I said, well, what the heck is a cha-cha? And she said, that's ballroom dancing. Like, dude, what the heck is ballroom dancing? And so I said, I want to learn how to do that. So I trained from, 8 a.m. to roughly like 1 p.m. every off season in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, at a guy named Peabody Marina. After I'm off, I got the rest of the day to myself. So I went to a ballroom studio right after working out. I got on a tank top, sweaty, bulked up, and I opened the door to a ballroom studio for the first time ever. Right, ding, and it's everybody all dainty and quiet and proper. So I looked totally out of place, and I didn't even know how to ask. I asked the lady. I said, "Excuse me, hey, I'm looking for the cha-cha. Is it here?" Like I asked for it like it was a person
That's
because I
funny.
don't know. And she pulled me aside. She said, yeah, sure. Do you mean learn the cha-cha? I said, yes. And then she asked me, do I want private lessons or public? I said, definitely private. And she said they didn't have availability until 2 weeks out. I was like, sure, no problem. Sign me up. I'll be back in 2 weeks. I kid you not. 1 week from that day, Dancing with the Stars called. So very serendipitous. I never went to that ballroom studio. The first time I ever learned how to ballroom dance was on the show, and the very first dance was a cha-cha.
That's
So
awesome.
kind of crazy.
That's funny that you're talking about being out of place too, because my dad actually, he's like this typical hunter fisher, and he got so into
Yeah.
ballroom dancing that he created one of his bedrooms into a studio with mirrors and everything. He's just like you with that. If he
That's
gets into
awesome.
something, he dives into it. That's great. I love that you still do it too, because you know it is
The
fun.
reason it's so fun, and I picked up this art called Zouk. Zouk is a Brazilian style dance. It's very connective. The reason why I think I really I know I fell in love with ballroom dance. I'm a romantic. I'm a very hopeful romantic. I see scenes of love all day. I've studied to be a premarital marital counselor.
Oh,
Like
that's
so,
awesome.
that's just my world right there.
Yeah, that's like some good stuff to get into too, because a lot of people need it with the divorce rates, premarital.
Yeah, it is. And love is the best outfit anybody can wear. It looks great on everybody. So
Yeah, very
yeah,
true.
that's a whole nother, yeah, that's my space.
Hey, that would be a good like thing. You could open a ballroom studio, do premarital counseling, and make them learn their wedding dance. You know,
Yes,
to
it is.
commit.
And just for you to know, right? Because you're in ballroom, and fellas, I don't know if y'all ever done it or not. You need to take time to do it one or two good times. Just try it. It's you live one life. It's not going to hurt you to take a couple hours to figure out how to step around some wooden floors. So the reason, one of the reasons why, and this is a book that I'm working on about connectivity and how ballroom dance equivalates to the relationship of a man and a woman, um, is because the idea of the man must lead is not rambunctious. It's not boisterous. The reason why the male leads and the reason why the male even exists on the dance floor is to present his woman as beautiful. It's the only
Oh,
reason he's there.
that's
And
awesome.
it's a laundry list of how beautiful it is as a relationship. So I'm excited to write about that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And funny, like this is me all the time. So y'all can imagine me in the NFL locker room when guys are like, "Bro, ain't nobody trying to hear that stuff right now." But like
it.
later on in life, you know what I mean? I'm the guy that gets calls like 5 years later. Hey, Rashad, you remember when you was talking about love? Let me.
I need some help now.
Yeah.
I,
That's
did,
awesome. Justin, were you saying something? I'm sorry.
No, it's dope.
Well, no, I was.
Oh.
It's
I was.
deep too. It's deep. I like it.
You just stopped them all in their tracks. They were all like, huh, what am I
I was just
doing?
saying. It's just like I'm. Normally it's just like I don't want to hear anything anybody Jaguars related says, but I'm very curious now. It's just like you premarital counseling, ballroom dancing, all of like.
All right, AFC South fan battle. After this, we'll present a code. Rashad Jennings, marital and post-marital counseling. You can get 10% off with the code.
Yeah.
We
Well,
got
Hey, if people
Use
would
promo
follow-
code
I
Jennings.
I got a question to Dance with the Stars. So playing with the Jaguars, you weren't really used to winning. So how did it feel winning it all?
that was funny. That we actually talked about that on the show. It's like, yo, you've never won anything before. What happens if you win? Like, thanks for reminding me. So yeah, I never got a ring, but I sure enough got one of 28 mirror ball trophies sitting in my house, spinning around over top of the fireplace. Yeah, it's super dope. It's cool, man, to be in a position where you got a chance to win. It makes you, dude. Losing sucks. I'm with you.
We
In
know.
the NFL,
Yeah, we know.
you wake up, right? And yeah, fans get this too. Y'all take the brunt of our losses too. But when you lose in the NFL, you wake up, you go to work, and it's like everybody treats you different. Even like the cafeteria food doesn't taste the same. The janitors look at you weird. Like everybody in the whole building is just kind of like,
You're like,
Lose.
why are my green beans so salty? Why hasn't the trash been taken out?
it is. It lets you be the one player that dropped the winning catch or fumbled or missed a tackle. Everybody just kind of is a D magnet to you. Nobody wants to be around
That
you.
kind of sucks
in
though.
the
I
building.
hate that. I guess that's the mom in me. Like, don't pick on them. We all make mistakes, you know. I don't know. Then again, Blake Bortles. But anyways, moving on. So
Wow.
that's
Subtle shot.
that's
Subtle
actually a
shot.
good segue. So you were drafted by the Jaguars,
Mm.
and we just got out of the 2021 NFL draft. What is it like being drafted? What are the feelings leading up to that moment and after, like your emotions?
Being drafted is emotional. I think that's the first word that comes to mind to explain it. For me, I've been wanting to play in the NFL since I was 6 years old, and it's unlikely. Every kid has their own story to get to the NFL. I was an overweight, chubby kid, glasses, asthma. Oddly enough, despite the autodidact mind I had a 0.6 GPA at one point in time. I was a 5th string running back in high school football, saying that I wanted to play in the NFL. So I had to overcome a lot of adversity. I started taking ownership of responsibility at a point in my life. I stopped blaming people. I stopped making excuses. I did a 180. And but like to get to that very antithesis, like the top of the mountain where you finally get a chance to peek over and you hear your name get called, it's a big breath of fresh air, and releasing tears because you got a new beginning. And then, after that little moment, it's a slap in the face because you throw them right back to the wolves, starting right back over as a rookie with a brand new book and some weird haircuts that they give you for hazing. So it's back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I always feel bad, like for the guys that don't get drafted, but then they sign after, So I always wonder what that's like, because
Like the free agency. Yeah, free agency is a big deal, right? Because not everybody. And here's just the numbers. Like, there's roughly 1,600 players annually that can play in the NFL. And then you break the number down that there's 32 teams and there's one starter each position. So I play running back. So 32 teams, that means it's 32 starting running backs a year. So I was one of 32 people for like 6 years on the universe. Then you start realizing the margin between, like, the unlikeliness, right? It's 7-some billion people in the world, right? The unlikeliness of just us 6 conversating, like when you look at the numbers, is very unlikely.
Yeah.
So, that's why, that's why I appreciate moments and everybody. But like getting back to football, this is not promised. This is not an obligation. This is a privilege, and so you're just so thankful, and all those feelings just kind of ooze out of you when you get drafted and you finally get an opportunity to play football, because it's like, this is so unlikely. How did this happen for me?
I love
That's
hearing
awesome.
the way you talk about it too, in such a humble manner, and it's something that I've actually talked about with Tom McManus. We had him on a prior episode, and because even just being how you are and playing in the NFL and getting drafted and all these things and the way you speak about it so eloquently, like you have kids that are looking to you. And nowadays you get these guys are so hot-headed and they don't realize that every single interaction, every time a child sees you on Instagram, like those are the moments that they pick up on. And you can see these guys that are hot-headed pulling up to stadiums with a, armored car. No comment
Mhm.
who that was.
Let it
But
go. Let it go.
I'll never let it go. But anyways, you see guys like that, and these kids think like, oh, that's how I need to be. I need to get in the NFL by being a hothead, and that's, I mean, and and you just said it. That's not, you got to beat the odds. And so I love hearing that as a mother, with a 7-year-old son, especially. I love hearing
Yeah,
stuff like that.
no, and I appreciate that too. And I do recognize that. Like I tell people a lot, there's nothing special about me. It's just the position I'm in. And I realize that kids are a sponge. And I'm a big believer in living a life worth mimicking, because somebody's always looking for somebody to kind of absorb information from or follow, like I did, right? Everybody does, admittedly. So I do keep that in mind, that and I tell kids too, a lot of times the majority of the people that are talked about, it's like 100 people maybe that are talked about in the NFL. That's it, maybe. But that means there's 1,500 other people that you probably don't ever converse about, right? Now, fantasy football has changed the game and made you talk about a lot more people, but
Hmm.
overall, there's only a few, and that's not the representation of the full league. It's a lot of people that are on minimum wage. There's a lot of guys that play 10 years and you never know their name. And how did they do it? How did they do it? There's a difference between a pro athlete and an NFL athlete. NFL athlete is the guy that comes in that is very talented, is very skillful, that is outstanding. NFL athletes, they come in, they are beasts in college. They probably was a beast through their high school career. Red carpet roll out. Yeah, they put in some work, but they're there now. They go in. They have to learn a playbook. They're amongst the elite themselves. Maybe they get hurt. They don't know how to come back from injuries. Maybe they get some different competition. They don't know how to compete with it. Maybe they get in trouble on the off season. Maybe they can't keep their head in the books. Maybe those are your NFL athletes. Your pro athletes are the guys that come in, average, throw in the playbook, study it, do what's right, show up, be on time, and you have no reason to get rid of them. They play 10 years, they get paid, they set up their family for financial wealth, and you don't even know their name.
Yeah.
You got to learn to be a pro, not an NFL athlete. That's very overrated.
Yeah. Those are the guys I appreciate though. So I
Mm.
appreciate you being like a pro athlete and not an NFL athlete. Like you said, I never even thought about it like that. That's so awesome.
You
So
know who that reminds me of? That reminds me of Aaron Foster has the almost the exact same mindset. It's very humbling and real down to earth.
yeah.
Yeah, I like Arian. Arian's so funny enough. Arian and I came out the same year, and
Yeah.
we both came in 2009. We both were at the Senior Bowl together. I was I think, yeah, I ended up, I was the leading rusher at the Senior Bowl. He was second. He was undrafted. I was the last running back pick. So it's like we both barely made it in there. And when I saw him blow up, man, I was so excited for him. He's so good, such a talent. And he thinks differently for sure. And you have to, well, you don't have to, but the reason why I think the way I think is because there's a quote. I'll give you this. There's a quote that I do not live by, but it is written in such a way that if somebody was shadowing my life, it would inspire them to say these words. And it's the master and art of living shows little distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his love and his religion. He just simply pursues everything he does with excellence, leaving others to decide, is this guy working or is he playing? But to him, he's always doing both, right? And so in order to live like that, you got to realize like a long career in the NFL and relativity to life is still very short. I played 8 years, which is long, which is short. And I had to think about what I was going to be doing when I'm 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, so forth and so on. So Arian is one of them guys that like saw beyond the NFL and saw this as just like a little stepping stone.
Yeah. Yeah, and
That's
you
why
hear of that often. Like a lot of the guys sometimes get in and they're like, this isn't for me. So, you know. Well, I have 2 more questions before the other guys will ask you a question or 2 each. So, you mentioned when you were drafted, and you were drafted a year before Tim Tebow. So before we went live on this episode, and now, go ahead, Chris, laugh. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Listen,
You can't contain it.
listen. I've never been more excited for a signing in my life.
Do you want to go ahead and say it then? Go ahead.
Well, first we would like to extend a congratulations to Tim Tebow, the official starting tight end of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, now listen.
And now a leprechaun just ran through my living room on a jackalope as they were handing out $3 bills because apparently that completed the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
So are you saying that the fat lady is singing? And pigs are playing as well.
Listen, I'm not going to be the person to say that because you're not going to get me entrapped and have, anybody coming after me. But I will say that if for some reason you go outside right now and there's an eclipse out of nowhere, you know why.
Listen, okay. So that being said, Rashad, could you ever imagine going back into the league, especially in a different position than you were drafted to play?
I mean, going back, no. Maybe if somebody was like, maybe if I started off at a different position or something, but to be retired for close to a decade and say, we're going to throw you back in the NFL and play a different position, I don't think I will waste my time because I don't think I could do it. But listen, Tim, maybe he's just a different breed. Maybe he was supposed to be a tight end from the jump. And
they told him that and he didn't want to listen.
Most likely.
Yeah, it's just unheard. Like 10 years out of the league almost, right? Look at Marshawn Lynch is arguably a Hall of Famer, and they kind of scrapped for him to come back at the same position. Tim ain't done nothing as no tight end. I mean, nothing.
They brought him in to be the halftime motivational speaker to get to go back out there and continue to win. I think that's why they brought him in.
He's the one he's the one to lead worship before the games. Pray everybody has a safe game and no injuries. So,
a comment from the group just came in that says Tim is built different.
He is built different.
Than a tight end.
Maybe the problem.
That was his biggest thing in college. He was a running quarterback. We know, of course, Lamar Jackson, but he's like a big dude, and most of his stats came from running. And you can do that in college. You can't do that in the NFL. And that was something they tried to push. I think specifically Bill Belichick tried to push him to be a tight end because they thought he would make it and he didn't want to do it. Instead, he's like, "Oh, I'll go play baseball." So, yeah.
Well, maybe the Jaguars saw what Esterby did as a preacher for the Texans.
Oh no, God!
So they went a different route and brought Tebow in to be the preacher.
I don't even know why you guys still have that clown, to be honest.
Because Tim Tebow was signed with the Jaguars.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, we can't.
That's his apprentice.
That's just like a full smoke screen. Why is that guy still there?
It's amazing.
Do you know anybody, Rashad, who's ever come in contact with Easterby?
No. Nobody.
He said I plead the fifth on that one.
I will say Jacksonville in itself, though. I'm trying to think about like some logical reasons. Listen, there's one Tebow. They're next door neighbors, Myers and Tebow. Maybe Tebow really has been working really hard, and this was a strategic plan all along. Who knows? But two, Jacksonville in itself, right? There's always been an issue in Jacksonville, even when I was there in 2009. Like the fan base, it seemed that more people got excited for the Florida Georgia game than coming to watch us.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So, and I remember one time there was a plane flying with a flag behind it saying draft Tebow over top of one of our games. And we're like, yo, this is insane. They really love this guy here.
Listen, I was at that game when he played, and he was drafted by the Broncos, and he went in and played the first snap of the game. And they let him play because he was in Jaguars Stadium. It was almost like a slap in our face. And all the soccer moms are all around like, oh my God, Timmy. You know, I'm just like, mad. Who cares? And I'm a Gator fan, so he was fresh off my team. I guess it would be the same like if Clemson fans with Trevor Lawrence, but I was just like, dude, who cares? He's not playing for my team. But I will say the culture is different because back then, 2009, 10, us first generation Jaguar fans, we were all too young. We couldn't afford tickets. So now we're all in our 30s and we're bringing our kids. So it's gotten better. We don't have tarps. We don't have blackouts. Hey.
Yes.
Things are getting better.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree. As someone that went to the very first Jaguar game, in 95, you know what I mean? And gone to many Jaguar games, it's like Jacksonville for a very long time was, it felt like the University of Florida capital. They were all Florida fans and the Jaguars were always stacked it. And then you bring Tebow into the stadium, you draft him or whatever. All of those fans are there for Tebow. They're not there for the Jaguars. So when Tebow leaves, they're done. They're going back to the team that they had. And I felt like we got over that once we hit 2017 and we made the playoffs and that kind of stuff. And then you have organizations flying to away games and stuff like that. And the fan base really took off. That I felt like we put that behind us, you know what I mean? I was like, all right, this is Jacksonville, this is our fan base, this is our team. And now we're just circling back around to it and having the same conversation. It's just so frustrating because it just ignites that whole topic again.
I know. I posted something on Twitter the other day. It was like talking about Jaguars and Tim Tebow. And I'm like, what year is it? This is crazy. But anyway, moving on. Last question before we get to the other guys. So you can plead the fifth on this one, but you did kind of touch on it a little bit. So there are rumors about the Jaguars. The NFLPA put out a statement to tell players to be careful signing with the Jaguars. That was in 2016. We've heard them, but nobody has said why. Without naming names, I'm not going to put you on a spot. Without naming names or instances, can you just tell us if the toxicity is still present in the Jaguars organization, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, I would say no. I've heard some different rumors and whatnot, but getting through the nitty gritty, no. Jacksonville straight is the organization is solid. It's obviously, media attracts to a lot of negativity, but it's sound. It's very sound.
So you're saying it went from Jacksonville to Houston, though, right?
Yes, I think they caught the bug. I think Houston might have caught the bug. It ain't Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, I love it too. It's great to not be the laughing stock anymore. I mean, they still laugh, but not as hard as they do. But
you got Tebow now, so I think
got Tebow.
We're giving a little bit back, just a little.
Jacksonville, smart. A smart move, y'all. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, they did, with Urban came a new position. They hired they created a position that was something about culture. I guess they're trying to create culture. But I don't know if Tim Tebow is the culture move. But, hey.
He might.
Hey. Whatever. Anyways, moving on. We'll let the guys ask you a couple questions. I know you're busy, man. So, Dylan, why don't you go ahead and ask him how he felt about that amazing 80-yard run against the Texans?
Oof. Oof. I'm not going to ask him that, actually, because I'm sure he felt amazing about that. I do have two questions. The first one, how different were the cultures of the three teams you were on, the Jaguars, Raiders, Giants?
Culturally speaking, there were major differences. Um, Jacksonville, and I love all three. Jacksonville's culture was just from the coaching culture first. I won't even get into the fan base yet, but the coaching culture itself, when I went to Jacksonville, it was we show up and compete. When I was in Oakland, it was you earn your right to be here. And when I showed up in New York, it was let's win a championship.
Okay.
It was
Awesome.
different attitudes. Like one was, you're just showing up to work here, grind, 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 which is, yeah, I get it. What else we gonna do? But it was something about New York when you walked in the building, you saw trophies and people talked about championship, like you could say the word Super Bowl and people would not be angry at you. When I was in Jacksonville, it was like, nah, you don't talk about that. You just grind here. And and it's funny when you enter to the NFL, you think every team is the same. And that idea of the grass ain't green on the other side, that's a lie. It is sometimes. So, but the culture, the fandom, the fan base, each one was awesome for their own reasons. Jacksonville was the smallest, for sure. And one thing about like playing with different teams, you realize that the rivalries are not for the teams, it's for the fans. Because like as a player, I play in New York and who do they hate? They hate Dallas and Philly.
Yeah.
More than anything. And then I go to the Oakland and it's all about we got to beat Kansas City. Like why we got to beat them? And so like you know what I mean? And when I'm in Jacksonville, it's really I felt more like beat the Colts more so than anything. That's what I personally felt from fans.
Titans.
And so
Titans.
yeah, and it's and go back and forth. But I will say just randomly, the most hated fans out there, all like from team to team to team to team to team, the most hated fans, not team, the most hated fans of Philly.
Yeah.
Oh, for
I
sure.
knew that was
Can't
coming.
find anybody that
knew it.
find a Philly fan they like.
I knew it.
It's bad. I don't know what that Philly fans doing to people, but but answer your question, all three were different, but those are the three things that stood out. One was championship, one was compete, and one was earn your right to be here.
Can I build off that just quick? How was it though when you played the former team? So when you went from the Jaguars and you had to play Oakland or whatever, how was that?
I loved it. It's an extra little turn you got to want to perform. But I said when I was in Jacksonville and played Oakland for the first time, and I scored a touchdown, and I was in a black hole. These Raider fans with the spikes and stuff, they reached over the tarp and gave me the big middle fingers from hell, and cussed me out. I felt so small, right? And I remember getting picked up by the Raiders, and then I was warming up one time before a first game, and I was right back in the black hole. And that same dude was like, "Hey, you with us now? I got your back." And like the same dude.
That's
And
great.
so, you learn to appreciate that. Like fans, I appreciate the people that come up to me and like, "You effing suck." Like it makes me smile, right? Like I love it. There's nothing like going to an away stadium and silencing an entire crowd because you do well. Like that's your job. Like I can appreciate a fan being upset at me.
Like running an 80-yard touchdown. I get it.
Yeah,
right.
It's like a reverse applause. Yeah.
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 Every time I played the Texans, like I set a personal record. I don't know what it is. Every team I played with, if I played the Texans, I set a record.
It was like, all right, you mouth started drooling. You're ready when you saw that Texan on the schedule, huh? Oh, I'm about to eat.
Yeah,
that's great.
But it's fun playing against your old team, though.
Dylan, you have another question?
Yeah, my second question is, can you elaborate more on how each head coach you played under was?
Yeah, let's see. So Jack Del Rio was one of my coaches. He He's hard nosed. He's a defensive guy.
Now he was your head coach in Oakland too, as well, right? Or
we skipped. He came in after I left.
Okay.
Man, I forget some of the coaches because they were in there for like a month. I feel like. My clerk. I can't even remember the guy's name in Jacksonville after that. It was Tennessee's.
Wow.
It was Tennessee's coach too. He went to Tennessee at some point. Malarkey. So I couldn't put my finger on Malarkey.
No one could.
He was out of there too fast.
Yeah, right.
He's a good dude. Now hear me out. Every single coach, I've never had a bad person as a coach. Now, just because you're not a bad person, or just because you're a good person, doesn't mean you're good at what you do.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I know some good people that can't cook. They ain't a good chef. They're good people. So all my coaches were good people. I never met a b-hole coach. Coach Dennis, what's his name? Is it Dennis Allen? And they're at the Raiders for 1 year.
Was it Hugh Jackson?
Nah, he's a defensive coordinator now with
I think it's Dennis Allen.
Yeah, it was Dennis Allen. He was great. He was young. I thought he was throwing a bad apple. He didn't get a shot to really run the team, and it was in and out real quick for him. Coach Coughlin, love Coach Coughlin. A lot of people had things to say about him that were negative. A lot of people had things to say that was really positive, but I personally loved him. You knew what you was gonna get from him. And his favorite cuss word was ass. My ass. No matter what you say to this guy, like, hey, if you gave us an excuse or reason, hey man, where you been at? Why you late? Whatever you say, his response is like, yeah, my ass. So every time I see Coach Coughlin, I call him from time to time and just text him a peach emoji and say hashtag my ass. So I still like him. And then after that, Coach, what was the Giants guy that? Oh, McAdoo, Ben McAdoo.
Big Sue McAdoo.
Yeah, which a lot of people only remember him now for benching Eli. So good dude though. I like him. I don't know what that decision was. I'm sure if he could go back, he would. But good guy.
Well, Justin Gonzalez, Jaguars commentator. You got any couple questions for Rashad?
Yeah, one game we did win was in 2010 at home against the Houston Texans. And in that game, David Garrard threw a last-minute Hail Mary with no time on the clock that was caught by Mike Thomas. So, Rashad, from your perspective, how did that make you feel after the game?
Yeah, man, we were lit that game. I remember that. I was on the sideline thinking the game over. You know what I mean? Like half the people had started leaving the stadium. Garrard somehow managed to get out of the pocket, just sling it up. And I'm on the sideline on a knee, just watching. See the ball float up. See it coming down. I see about like 8-10 bodies all in the same spot. And as I see the ball coming down, I'm like, man, Mike kind of close to that. All I see is him jump up. And then I didn't hear it. Went silent for a second. And then you hear the crowd. Rah! I look around. It's like, no way the hell he caught that. And he sure enough got up, running around with the ball. I'm looking around to make sure it's real. I've never been part of a Hail Mary walk off the field victory, and that was the first one. So
wasn't that the one that it was the safety for the Texans who smacked it into his hand, right?
Glover Quinn off of Glover Quinn's hands. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the hop into the end zone, wasn't it?
Yep.
It's crazy. You smacked it. Like, why? How?
Hey, Rashad, the Texans fans were saying the same thing. Why? How?
Yeah, exactly.
They're still saying that now.
That was a Texan thing to do.
It was.
So for a second, I felt like I was in Green Bay because it happens for them all the time.
Every day.
Once a year. Once a year.
I don't know what they doing.
My other
Yeah,
question is,
Rogers.
sorry.
No, you're good. Good.
MJD, I remember he came up with a couple of times saying that he drafted himself in fantasy football. Did you ever draft yourself in fantasy football?
MJD definitely would draft himself. So, quick story about MJD. That's my guy. Like,
right.
we're very similar coming out. Whereas same age, birthday 3 days apart.
Wow.
We train at the same facility, and during the off season, we lived with each other before I got drafted. We had the same agent, same financial guy.
Wow.
We do a lot of stuff together. We hung out all the time, and so that was before I got on the team with him. And one thing this explains Maurice for me. I never played a snap yet, right? We're playing against Kansas City Chiefs, and Maurice never comes out the game, ever. So this one time his shoe fell off, and like in the huddle, he couldn't get it on because it was too tight, and he couldn't untie, and his gloves and all that. So he's like, doing one of these, come get me. Coach was like, running back coach, just get a game. He always spit in his dip or something. And so I run in. It's the first time I'm playing. I get in the huddle, here to play. Wow, it's a run play. Oh shoot, let me get myself ready. And we're playing against Kansas City Chiefs. It's outside zone. Step, get the ball, boom, boom, make somebody miss, stiff arm somebody, 30-yard touchdown, first time I ever played. Right. So I throw the ball in the air. I'm beating my chest like I'm lit. The next thing I know, Maurice has on spat. He never ever again came off that field. Maurice hates anybody to come in for him. So, but I like that about him. He's a competitor, true in, true out. I love Maurice for that. I could write a book about how much he's taught me about competition. But with that in mind, man, Maurice is special. Just putting that out there. I didn't forget the daggone question.
Did you ever draft yourself in fantasy football?
No.
Did you ever draft Maurice Jones-Drew in fantasy football?
So here's the thing. I never played fantasy football while I played. I didn't even know what it was.
Fair enough.
I just used to have people come up to me and say, hey, Rashad, you want my fantasy for me? Let me get you a drink. I'm like, what are you talking about? Is it that serious? How are you winning? But now I play, right? Now that I'm done, last year was the first time I played. So then I went back and looked at fantasy history points, and I wanted to see what the heck I was doing back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I was balling in Oakland.
Hey, those passes, yes, sir.
Whoever picked me up in Oakland, because I didn't play my first 8 games in Oakland because I was backing up McFadden.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he got hurt and I got my opportunity, if you had me on, boy, now I see why people ran up to me like, yo, you want me my fantasy. That's fun.
All right, and my last question, I have a bunch of questions, but for the sake of time, a non-football question. We were talking earlier about Call of Duty and stuff like that. What is your favorite Warzone loadout?
It changes from time to time, but what's been consistent, I'd say, my HDR.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm a sniper, man.
Yes,
I got to run a gun class, but at the end of the day, I'm the American sniper. I'm taking out the lobby from a distance.
That's the way to play.
And then that my assault rifle changes. Depends.
Sounds like you guys need to play together. Find each other on
Let's
Twitter.
do it.
Let's do it.
Go.
I'm so down.
I'm down.
All right, Chris Jackson. Couple questions, and then Matt Briggs, and we'll wrap this up.
Yep. So I know we've been talking a lot about football, Dancing with the Stars, but I mean, you've made a lot of appearances as yourself, but you also were on the Netflix series Great News. It was an episode, but still, it's just it was kind of like the acting thing. Are you going to be moving more into the acting? Because I know you said you pick up a different art every single off season, but it seems like you've been doing a lot more too. So what kind of projects and what kind of plans do you have for kind of expanding on that realm? Because I've seen you also on social media, destroying, competing against him. Like what else do we have like down the pipeline, like within the next year or so?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. So I moved out to LA to get into TV acting, host a commentator, finding my space in the entertainment world. And COVID kind of just made everything stop
Yeah.
for a little bit there with all the meetings and things I had going on. I had a really cool show with Jason Momoa about to jump off, and it was a travel show that got shut down. So we had to put that on scraps. I got a few things I can't announce now, but yeah, listen, I definitely acting is something that I'm very inspired by. Writing, I do have a Netflix series that I'm pitching very soon that I think the world is gonna love, truly. And it is ironically, like I was laughing earlier when I said there's no, there's no representation of Tennessee fans here. It's about a guy from Tennessee, so I think that maybe the Titans will like it if anything
Just
else.
bring some mayonnaise to the set. He's in character.
Does he like to eat mayonnaise out of a jar?
Yeah, nah, he's not a mayonnaise guy.
Dang.
But
You got to keep it authentic.
yeah. But no, I am doing a lot of projects with BT, still
Definitely
MTV.
keep an eye out. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm working with HBO, my kids series. Like, so it's different. I got my hands in a lot of different pots in the kids world with a kids book that I have out of series. I grew up with a reading comprehension deficit, so I do know the struggle of not being able to read efficiently, and I do know that 80% 85% of people incarcerated do not have a reading level above third grade. There is an importance to it. There's a psychology and some kind of clinical method that proves the creativity and ability to read causes you to be more of a law-abiding citizen and successful. It doesn't even matter what you decide to do in life. And so that's why I decided to write for children, because there is an addiction inside of a potato chip. They figured out the algorithm with the proper amount of salt, carbohydrate, and fat. Those three combined are an addictive taste. That's why the idea of you can't just have one chip is literal.
Oh wow.
And so because they found that and how to conduce that in a potato chip, right, to release endorphins, where I got to have some more of this and I don't even know why. I've said I want to try my hardest to find a way to write addictively to children. And so inside of this book, Arcade, Livingston, and Triple T Token, we got 4 books out, and the reviews that I get from parents, teachers, that their kids are at home reading on their own, it inspires me, because I think I'm getting closer to figuring out that algorithm to make reading addictive. Of what's that next word going to say? I got to flip the page to find out what happens. And so that's one of my philanthropic ways of giving back.
Are these
As a parent,
are they
as a
out?
parent, we're sorry.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, are these like out? They're already published, or are you?
Yeah, they're all right now. You can go all wherever books are sold, Amazon.com and Barnes and Noble.
What's the name? Because I'm definitely interested for sure.
Yeah, Arcade, and the Triple T Token. You can go to RashadJennis.com and surf it. You'll see it. If you can actually go to ArcadeLivingston.com, spelled just like the names are. Arcade, like the video game. ArcadeLivingston.com.
As a father of 4 girls, man, I appreciate that, because it just seems like media, everybody they're not focusing on the growth of children, but as what they can do for what they can get out of children, not what they can do for children. So I greatly appreciate it as a father.
Yeah, I might have to
Absolutely.
get those and donate them to my kid's school, and I'm sure
Yeah.
they could put them in the library as former running back, Jaguars running back, and the kids will be like, oh, because we're in Jacksonville or on the
No,
suburbs, so.
Samantha,
Kids will be
do
like,
that.
"Oh." Yeah, I'll
Please
have to
do
do that
that.
for sure.
And I
Oh,
took
that's
the
awesome.
time to actually write a teacher's curriculum with it, because I thought about that, right? Like, why would I wanted teachers to be able to put it inside their school and have a curriculum where, you know, instead of reading the Scarlet Letter, maybe they can read this, something else that they can relate to, and they can get graded on it. And then on top of that, if they do, I come to their school and do a visit, because I think it'd be cool for a kid to meet an author.
Yeah.
Because then you can ask the author, like, why did Arcade go here? Why did he look? Why didn't he do this? It's more real, and like I said, nothing special about me. It's a position. So
yeah, but it's also
I
cool that kids
realized
see that you were
There's life
an
after
NFL
football.
player and an author. Like, you
Right.
don't have to just have one dream. You can have many. I love that.
right.
Man, you're awesome. Holy cow. I'm like feeling bad. Like, I have not done enough with my life. I'm 34. Anyway. All right, Chris, do you have one more question before we move on to Matt?
Yes. So actually, I had to ask only because I have a son that's a teenager. So he wanted to know, because I mentioned you and I'm just like, oh yeah, he's a running back. Of course, he doesn't know this because I'm old apparently, but
You are
he's
older than
his
T.Y. Hilton.
his as you know what? Oh, I'm old. Of course, I'm older than T.Y. Hilton. That's not an insult, okay? But you are older than MJD. But exactly. But his exposure to you was from, of course, the destroying video, just kind of like going back and forth with him. My question is, how was that like dealing with people who are like kind of like competing now, as opposed to you, who's like a former NFL player, which, you know, it's just like you still look like you're still keeping yourself pretty much in shape. Like, what was that like?
To compete with Destroying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the one Destroying is awesome, man. He's figured out a nice wave, and he's really maximizing on it. It's authentic to him. So shout out to Destroying. But competing with him, he can't see me. Just put it like that. He know it too. I don't care how much shopping and editing he does on his camera. The truth gonna be seen. You saw what happened to him when he tried to step up to me.
I did.
Now it's cool though to do that, like, and be competitive with other people in different realms and stuff, and networking, because, you know, each individual can bring something to the table.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I look at it. That and two, when I talk to people, I truly listen to every single person's opinions on how they've achieved. And that's one thing I was learning from Destroying. Yeah, he's younger than me for sure. But I learned a lot from him. And the reason why I do that, and I encourage people to kind of adopt this attitude that I have of, when you listen to somebody talk, look at them and hear what they're saying as a representation of a million people. Because every single person that speaks an opinion to you, there's a million other people that think that. And so when I talk to one person, it makes me listen to them, because if I was talking to a million people saying this, I would listen differently. So one person's voice is a representation of a million, and it really will help you play chess in life a little bit better if you can do that.
That's crazy to think,
That's
because
awesome.
we're always told the opposite, right? So, you know, that's crazy.
Reverse engineer.
Man, do you,
that's awesome.
do you meditate? How do you open your brain up like this? I need this.
You know-
Do you take
you
a
know-
supplement?
Gluten-free cookies, that's what it is. We actually did a talk on meditation before, and that I was asked about meditation, and I don't know if I meditate or not, but meditate, I think I do the opposite. Meditation, you get to your most stillest point you can to relax and free your mind, and then when you can't hold still anymore, you find that peace that even holds still even more, and let go of thoughts. And when you're still thinking things, you try to let go, and eventually, if you keep letting go of everything, you get to this utopia. So I think I do the opposite, where like, especially with the weight room, I've pushed myself to the limit where I could not go anymore. And when I couldn't go anymore, I told myself, do one more rep. And when I did one more rep, I knew I couldn't do any more reps because I was depleted, and I did one more rep. And then I know I couldn't run anymore, but I ran some more. And I knew I was tired, my legs hurt, but I ran more and I ran more and I ran more when I couldn't and I couldn't and I couldn't. And I kept going till boom, all of a sudden, it's peace. So I think it's two ways to get to this idea of meditation, where you either strenuously think something through till you can't think about how to solve this problem anymore, and then eventually you get to this peace. Gotcha. Or you can just hold still until you get to the peace. So I do it the opposite. My way of meditation is to be very analytical, overthink, think about every environment. And as a running back, I'm built to always check my peripheral, right? Like, so, and it's bad. It's very bad, y'all, because I'm in a grocery store. I walk down the aisles of the grocery store, juking people. Like, you know what I mean? I'm always seeing what's going on way over here. Like, and so that's how I get to my kind of like peace, is I overthink.
Yeah, as a woman, I do that too, but I definitely have not accomplished near what you have.
I'm sure you probably accomplished more. You just ain't coined it yet.
Maybe. Thank you for making me feel better today. All right, Matt Briggs. Couple questions, and we'll let Mr. Jennings log off.
I just got one. Like we said earlier, if you don't feel comfortable, answer it. You know, but
I know what it is.
I asked all of our guests this question. Like you said, you ran into millions and millions of people. Who is the biggest difficult I had to change my wording, but who's the biggest difficult person you've ever ran into?
In the NFL.
Yeah.
In the NFL. We just talking about person or like player? Or just as a person? Like
both of them.
Either.
We want the dirt.
It could be Todd McShay. It could be anybody. Whoever gave you, was like, man, he's a dick.
Perfect.
That's not surprising at all. I thought you were gonna say Cortland Finnegan, but no.
I don't know why he was so upset all the time. Got nothing to you, man. I wish you the best. But like, I would say just, I ain't gonna call him a dick or anything. It's just he was just very upset. I don't know what happened. But that's the beautiful thing about football. You get to release all that upsetness, and people love it. So
we had a Texans radio host on, and his was Warren Sapp, because he was doing Super Bowl radio road down there, and it was his son's birthday, and he was asking all the players, hey, can you say happy birthday so you can make like a minute video? And he said Warren Sapp pretty much went, yeah, right, and walked off. So it's just different interactions, gives out that vibe. So I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. Hey, I tell you this, the hardest hitter I've ever seen in my life is a guy named Clint Session.
Oh, yep, I remember Session. Yep, I remember Session.
He played with the Colts, and he played with the Jacksonville for 1 year, but he had to retire because he had too many concussions because he was hitting too daggone hard. Like, he hit me so hard I wanted to fight him. Disrespectful to hit another man that hard, man. Like, what are you doing?
Now, was that when he was playing with the Colts or when he was playing with the Jags?
When he was with the Colts. And so, like, this dude, and funny enough, I played at Pitt with him in college. We were on the same team, right? So it's like you would think he'd cut me some slack. Say, bro, we know each other. Why you hit me this hard? He's the hardest hitting dude I've ever seen in my life. Jeez. All 5'11" of them. Yeah,
I remember him. He lights out.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything to add before we let you go?
Oh, no, listen, I just want to say I appreciate y'all having me on. I love what y'all doing. I could feel the fun in this group. So I'm sure the fans enjoy watching you guys, and hopefully I will say for Jacksonville fans, because hopefully we'll have more to cheer for than a pool in the background of people's screenshots there. But football is fun, and so it's cool to have different commentary on it. It's a beloved sport, and so I appreciate what y'all doing.
Yeah, we appreciate what you're doing, honestly.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Like we
Thank you.
said
Thanks, man.
throughout this whole episode, like I just love it. If you don't mind, send us all the information on, especially the kids' book, and we can post like an Amazon link to it. And tell us where to find you on social media, and if you have any projects going on, like podcasts and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm simple. I got lucky. It's just my name on every platform. Rashad Jennings, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, every single platform that I'm on. It's just my name. And you can go to rashadjennings.com to find the books, or you can go straight to the websites. The If in Life book, which was a New York Times bestseller. I got a chance to really exploit the title, The If in Life. It's a play on words. When you spell out the word life, if is in the middle. And so I kind of went through 15 different chapters of exploiting how important and pivotal that one little itty bitty word is to the success and failures of our life. And that the dreams that you sincerely want are always going to cross you through good times. And it's probably sitting in front of you now. You just got to realize how to capture it. So please pick up the book. If you don't like it, give it to somebody else. Pick it up.
Now it is on Audible, right? Because Tennessee fans they have a hard time reading. So
yeah, Audible. I thought about just for Tennessee mayonnaise lovers. So I got you.
Well, they can start with the kid books.
Right. Yeah,
There you go.
I bet you the Titans have a commentator next time somebody comes on, because
Yeah,
they're going to hear
this is
this
what y'all
and
get.
completely
Roasted.
upset. They unmercifully.
Well,
Also, once we hop off here, the Warzone handle, I need that. Gonna need that.
Oh, yeah.
I got you, man. Got you. And I'm the OG. I got an OG account. So I just look. It's just me. It's ITS. It's RJ23. No hashtags. No nothing. There's an OG account. So it's RJ23.
Look
Noted.
at them all grabbing their pens. Hold on. What'd you say? Hold on.
It's RJ23. Yeah, we got.
Let's go.
I get on there, talk trash, have fun. But we are gonna have some tournaments and stuff. And real quick, I say this about gaming. Gaming gets a bad rep a lot of times. I just literally picked it up during quarantine because my nephew was talking trash about Uncle Shaw. You can't beat me in Warzone, and being a good uncle, I had to go whoop his tail. So I realized something though. This is big for me. I picked up gaming for a couple of different reasons. One, I know people say, "Oh, gamers, they don't do nothing. Oh, you always playing on your stupid video game." For me, as a mentor in a lot of different ways, if a kid is in his house at 2 a.m. in the morning, he ain't in the streets. If he's playing a video game at midnight, he ain't in the streets. And to wives, if your husband is playing a video game, he ain't at a bar.
Let me go get mine before he said this.
He is not at a bar if he's playing a video game.
I'm gonna clip
True.
that and post that on every single social media channel.
Like, why give these men hard time that are on a game talking trash with other men? What you want them to go out and do what? Like,
Hey,
have fun.
Rashad, I got the opposite problem, and these guys can tell you. My husband had to have this God of War edition PS4, and he never plays it. I'm like, go play your video game, please. And this is where Chris Jackson is going to tell me I'm making him look like a buster. Go ahead.
Yeah, nah, man. Hashtag Team Hank. I ain't
Exactly, Team Hank, man. What do you think it is? But I listen. My wife went from hating it to eventually only being able to go to sleep if she heard like the Madden soundtrack. Like she's like, okay, no, we're good now. So she understands the importance. Yeah, I love my wife. It's fantastic. So understanding.
Well,
Team
Rashad,
Hank, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, enough with you guys. Well, Rashad, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been really awesome.
Amazing.
Like, you are an awesome person.
Absolutely.
I appreciate y'all. Yeah,
Sir,
I was like,
you're amazing.
hang out again.
I completely forgot about the fact that you played for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I kind of did for a second, too. Is that what meditating is? I tapped into that? Like, what? But yes, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it so much.
My pleasure.
We need to start a campaign to get you at tight end instead of Tim Tebow.
I'm down. Let's do it.
That's something I can get behind.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right,
Appreciate you.
Thanks, bud.
You man.
Well, we're still live, but we're done with the recording. But holy cow, that was awesome.
That was great.
What an awesome guy.
Yeah.
Really.
That shit got deep.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was
That shit got deep.
I was like,
I always respected his career, but as a person, like the respect for him just went.
right.
Oh,
I mean, I knew
like-
he wrote.
Like
a
here's
book.
Jesus and here's Rashawn Jennings.
And then Tim Tebow's underneath him.
Right, exactly.
And on the 8th day, Rashad Jennings said,
Right.
I just-
He says on the 8th day, Rashad Jennings says, if your man's at home playing video games, don't worry about it.
he's not out talking to hoes.
Listen,
Yeah,
once
exactly.
he learns how to seamlessly turn water into wine, he's gonna be like that dude.
Dude, I
Like,
feel like he can do anything. Like he might be able to tap into that part of his brain where he can, what a
That's what I'm saying.
man. I kind of feel like that interview made me feel less of myself. I think I might need some of his counseling. Like, man, what have I done with my life?
Maybe you need to get into that hot tub in the stadium to regulate yourself. That'll.
At least we have Tim Tebow, right, Justin?
And you fuckers just wouldn't give it up. Not one of you would give it up.
Listen. If there's anything that we've learned now, or anything that we've learned from everything in Jacksonville, if there is any time where you guys are on the up and up and everything just seems good, there is going to be something that just comes in and just is plummets. And that's what this Tim Tebow signing is.
Yeah.
Like,
Just jagging off.
Jagging off.
Well, those of you watching the live stream, I guess we're all going to go meditate now. Try to.
Oh man, absolutely. Apparently, I need to learn some ballroom dancing because Jesus Christ, it's
Dude, I wasn't kidding when I said my dad is like a typical hunter, fisherman, contractor. Never would guess in a million years. He got so into it, and he loved it. It's actually an amazing workout for sure. Do it.
It's.
Yep.
Man, that's
Wow.
awesome.
That was a lot, man.
I feel so enlightened.
I feel like I know. I feel like I need to go do something with my life now. I'm about to go
Don't
write a
worry.
book. My name
How not to lose with the Jaguars.
Can't write that.
Can't relate.
Well, we're gonna hop off this live stream. If you guys are watching, make sure if you missed any of it and you're watching now live, the episode will be on by Wednesday morning. Could be before, but by Wednesday morning. So have a good day, and we will see you guys soon. Do something good with your life. Be inspired.
Apparently.
That's very inspiring.
Yeah.
Be inspired, man.
If not any other day, today is the day to go do something with your life.
Yes, and go
Exactly.
buy that book. I'm very interested. I'm about to go buy his book. For
Yeah,
real.
I was actually on Amazon when he was talking. I was like,
Yeah.
order.
The website's dope.